Welcome to the FSF Popcast, the show that's made for nerds by nerds. Our guest today is the lead singer, guitar player, and primary songwriter for Bowling for Soup, solo country artist, and the voice behind everyone's favorite rodent, Chuck E. Cheese. Plus, many, many more things I know I'm missing. I know there's a ton in there. But please join me in welcoming Jaret Reddick to the show. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk with us. Me. It's me. I'm so used to there being two. This is weird. I'm so used to Tim being here. Honestly,
Tim didn't get the memo. I guess he decided he didn't want to be a part of this.
Tim thought going and watching a 20-year-old movie back in theaters again was more important. So.
Well, he might be right. You never know.
I mean, it's Revenge of the Sith, so I get it. But also, you can stream it on Disney and pause it. So
true that.
We'll give him all the crap about abandoning us. But like I said, I'm super excited. I have had you on my wish list for the interviews. Honestly, I've been doing the podcast for almost 3 years. And then, honestly, I have wanted to talk to you since my older brother, Charlie, introduced me to Bowling for Soup when I was, in all honesty, way too young to be listening to Girl All the Bad Guys Want. I think I was about 10 when he introduced me to you guys. And
That's
it was
too young. I think that was like our target. That was like, I think we were on pop radio. So
you were.
I think that's who's listening to that actually.
Although, well, then I feel fine. I'm totally right on track then. But I typically like starting the show with a get to know you question.
Okay.
So what's the story? How did Jaret Reddick get to where he is today?
Well, gosh, I mean, it's quite the tale, I guess. I grew up in Wichita Falls, Texas, and not really a lot to do there. And so I found music when I was around 13 and got a drum set for Christmas and started playing in bands. And then, just kind of, really just as something to do. Really, there was a lot of trouble to get into the little city that we were from, and so this was a way to kind of keep ourselves out of that trouble. So, like I said, playing in bands, but also going to school, and I heard punk rock for the first time in around 1990, and really just decided, man, I think that's what I want to do, and started writing songs. And then 94 started Bowling for Soup, and 30 years later, here we are, just still on the road. In fact, we're at our hotel right now in Waco, Texas, doing a show tonight. And that's pretty much how we get here. It's a wild ride.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that it's been 30 years. That's awesome. You guys are still going out there kicking butt, having fantastic shows. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's more popular. The band's more popular now than it ever has been, and so we're just in a really good place. Everybody, personally and in the band, and still having a good time. And so yeah, it's going really well. Definitely can't complain.
That's awesome. So you said that you're at your hotel for the show tonight, and I know that you guys have been packed with tours, with the 30th anniversary tour and the Hangover You Don't Deserve tour, and then you've been doing all sorts of shows as well with the country album, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So I was looking at it I was wondering if you've had any free time at all, if you've got what you've been listening to, what you've been reading, what games you've been playing. What do you think people should be looking at if they're over looking at Bowling for Soup, which I don't think you can be?
No, I think definitely Bowling for Soup should be everybody's main focus. But I don't really have a lot of free time. Everything that I do, I love. So, doing music and even social media stuff is kind of my hobbies as well. So that's pretty much what I do. Right now, I'm actually, for the first time, reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, which I've wanted to read pretty much my entire life. I just finished Laura Jane Grace's book, Tranny, which was really good. And I'm as far as listening, Gosh, I've been going down kind of a hardcore rabbit hole, listening to Black Flag a lot, and Pop Propaganda has a new record out that I really like. Today we actually have our ride back home tonight. We're gonna listen to the new Ghost album, and so
Yes.
kind of all over the place there. But quite frankly, I really kind of go through whole periods of time where I don't even listen to music. I'm either listening to murder podcasts, or I'm a big true crime guy, so I'm either listening to murder podcasts or I'm listening to books or whatever. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm a dad, and I got a little girl, well, not little girl, 22-year-old that's graduating soon from college, and I got a guy that's my oldest son is finishing his freshman year in college, and then I got one in the 6th grade. So between that and then just home and a wife and 3 dogs and a cat and a fish, I stay pretty busy.
I feel like that says so much as a parent with a little girl and she's 22. That's totally how that works. She's always,
yeah.
Always going to be your little girl.
Yeah, a little girl is always daddy's girl. It's just kind of nothing you can do about it, she was my firstborn too. So she definitely has me continuously wrapped around her finger, and she's aware of it. So is my ex-wife. So is my wife. Everybody knows that she pretty much get whatever she wants from me. And I don't even tiptoe around it. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, if she asks me, I'm just going to say yes.
Oh, for sure.
All you
so
can do.
My husband and I, we have a 6.5-year-old girl, and it is, oh yeah, for sure, 100% the same way.
Oh yeah.
She is daddy's little girl. There are days where I am practically invisible to her. And I'm like, child, I grew you. I nourished you in my body. What is this?
That never goes away. Yeah, especially when the teenage years, whenever you guys are yelling at each other, he's always going to be the innocent one in between you. You're going to be wanting backup, and she's going to just be fluttering her eyelashes at him, and that never goes away.
Like, I can hear them playing out in our backyard right now. I don't know if they're having a lightsaber fight right now. I think that was on her list of things she wanted to do today, or
That's
what
a
they're
big
doing.
Day.
It is. It really is. But talking about my husband, I had, of course, bragged about this interview to my friends because, like I said, I've been a fan of Bowling for Soup since it would have been 2002. About 2002, so I was 10. But this was like, anytime somebody would ask, "What's your favorite band?" Like, Bowling for Soup. What's the first CD you bought for yourself? I'm like, Great Burrito Extortion Case. Like,
there you go.
This is my band, and
I love it.
So, talking to my friends about it, and my husband was like, "Hey, I have a question." I'm like, "All right, let me know what it is." So my husband plays bass, and he wanted to know if you're still using your Mesa dual rectifier live, or if you've started going the way of a lot of musicians these days, relying on a modeler of some sort. He said that my husband has said that there's nothing quite like the air being moved by the speakers hitting your back. It's like, I know that, I feel like that's part of the live experience, but yeah, he's like, I have questions about what they're using as their rigs.
Yeah. So we used Mesa Boogies. I actually used a stiletto, and Chris used a dual rectifier. And then, but Rob and I switched to Kempers, which is modulator, several years ago. Chris, before he retired, he still liked to hear the sound behind him. But honestly, we've used in-ears since 2005, trying to save what little hearing we have left. And so, quite frankly, though I think a lot of people like to feel it, so to speak. I mean, the stages we play are fairly large. You really are so far away from your amp that we really never heard them anyway. So yeah, we're definitely all Kemper. Everything fits in a little suitcase, and it is the best thing we ever did. It's just nice to we roll into wherever we are, and if we can't bring our own stuff, Gary's got a lot of times we have to rent a kit for him if we're flying. And so, he just sort of never knows what he's going to get. We have the same thing every day. And it's really nice, actually.
That is nice. I never thought about it being so much smaller and easier to travel with. That would be way better than moving amps.
it's a really nice clean stage too, so it just makes it to where we can sort of make the stage look however we would like. So just not a lot of stuff in the way, but yeah, I mean, I get it definitely from like the club level. You know, you like to have your amp all loud in front of you, but it really does. It's for the sound guy to be able to get the vocals out front and everybody to be able to hear everything. It just makes it really nice.
Yeah, you know, I think that was something my music experience was mostly music theater. So I was used to, you have the vocalist as the center and then the orchestra is below. And then when my husband and I got together and we had gone to a couple of smaller shows, and I'm like, this is a weird, like, this feels weird. The music feels different. And he's like, that's because the music is coming at you at the same level as the voice. And I'm like, it's strange. I don't know if I like this or not. But then we went to an Evanescence concert in September, and I'm like, oh no, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Never mind, now I get it. This is
right. Yeah, it's sound guy is an important role there.
It is. Yeah, my husband is such an audio nerd too, and I'm like, he'll say stuff, and I'm like, I love you, and I have no idea what you're talking about. Like
I get that
scene in Finding Nemo with it's like he's trying to speak to me. I know it. Every day. So, I mean, you in the past in other interviews, and then even talking now about saving your hearing and Chris having to retire for his health, you've been very open about your mental health and your physical health and the challenges of both of those, in addition to just the general wear and tear of, you've been doing this for 30 years. This is a lot for your body. How do you guys keep going? How are you still putting on these amazing shows?
I mean, we've actually gotten pretty smart about things. I mean, the three of us and our tour manager, when we're on tour, we actually go to the gym. We just started, you know, we were never really big into that, but we're actually taking better care of ourselves. We eat a lot better than we used to. You know, we start drinking beer a few hours later and stop a few hours earlier than we used to. You know, just definitely paying attention to our bodies, trying to take way better care of ourselves than we used to.
Yeah.
And you just sort of get forced to anyway. But you know, I think we're all in a really good place and enjoying where we are with the band. And so anything we can do to prolong, you know, even being able to get out there and do this, we're all, it's on our minds. And so, but yeah, I mean, I've had 3 knee surgeries, and Gary and I both have some form of carpal tunnel, and you know, all of the things that happen to you when you start to play an instrument for as long as we have. And you know, your hands are in weird positions all the time, and you know, you use muscles that a lot of people don't, and so you know, there's just a lot of wear and tear on your elbows and your knees, and but yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, I get a lot of massages, and I have like one specific girl that I go to, and she works on my arms for like 45 minutes each. And then and it is you know, it's sometimes, you know, towards the end of a tour, we can't even, both Gary and I can't even make really Rob too, kind of have trouble even making a fist. But that just comes with, you know, the wear on your body from what it is we do.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, as I've seen like I mentioned, my husband and I went and saw Evanescence in concert, and Amy actually mentioned that she has started including more of their piano songs in their set list, because then she can sit down and it's easier on her. It's easier for her body to take a sit break. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, I guess you kind of have to make that modification as you go, because we're not easy on ourselves, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, especially you guys up on stage. You guys are out there.
Well, the travel too. You know, you got to think being on an airplane is really hard on you, and and you know, just pretty much most of it. But yeah, you get the hour and a half on stage every night, and that it makes it all worth it. We're you know, again, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah. How is Chris doing with his health now that he's retired? I know that he had some pretty scary things.
Yeah, you'd honestly have to follow him on Instagram and ask him. You know, I'm not really supposed to talk about it, and he doesn't really like to talk to about it to everybody. So I can just tell you that he you know, he seems like he's in a good spot, and you know, like I said, he's on Instagram for anybody who wants to reach out. You know, he's definitely responsive sometimes, and sometimes he's not. So if you want to take a shot
I've been following him for a while as well, and
that's where you find him.
It's got to be like a weird moment though, having to make that choice of I have to retire. I can't keep doing this.
Definitely wasn't easy for him. I mean, again, we sort of get back to that whole point of like what you're able to do. I mean, it's like when you know, there's a lot of things that go into the day of just the travel was really, really hard on him. And so, I mean, I don't think it was an easy decision for him to make at all. It definitely wasn't easy for us to hear, but like I said, he seems like he's in a good spot, and we're all doing really well. And so,
good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was looking at it too with the realizing Chris has been with you since the beginning. I mean, it was when I first got into you guys, it was you and Chris and Gary and Eric, and it was when Eric left, and it was oh man, well this is weird, but okay, we can adjust to weird. And then with Chris's health, and then Chris leaving, and I'm like, but I don't know how much change I can handle. I don't know. It's like, but I'm glad he's been spaced
out. Luckily, it's been spaced out quite a bit. I mean, Rob's really been in the band since 2017, and and so we were really set in our lineup, and then we're not replacing Chris, so it's not like we have to get used to another person. It's just the three of us, and it's working out really good.
Yeah, awesome. And I actually, as a fan, love that you're not replacing Chris. Like, I know that sometimes you have to. Sometimes bands, that's how they work. You need to have that other person. But because I know you guys are friends too. Like, I love that you're not replacing him. Like, that makes me happy.
Us too. We feel like we felt like it was the right move. We knew right after the first time we played together without him for the first time, and he was, he was in the city with us but couldn't do the show, and we knew that even at that point we thought he was coming back, but we knew that we weren't going to ever have anybody up on stage instead of him. So it was it's definitely we're all very happy.
Oh, I'm glad. So looking at what you've got going on in your schedule currently, you guys are on tour. You have so many shows. Many shows.
It's lots going on. Yeah, we got the Warped Tour coming up, and then some festivals, Florida and Sioux Falls, South Dakota, some festivals there, and then I got a bunch of country stuff happening as well. And then our biggest headline show to date will happen in December. We're headlining Wembley Arena, so I'm excited about that. All of us are, and fans are very stoked. And that's a milestone. That's one of those things where I would have never even thought that we would be saying that we would be playing Wembley Arena, but here we go. So
you're playing Wembley.
Exciting stuff.
My husband and I were looking at your tour dates, and he's like, well, they're playing Wembley on our 11th anniversary. And I'm like, I don't think we can make it to Wembley as much as I would have loved to, because we missed we're in Michigan. We missed your show in Grand Rapids because I was sick. And I'm like, no.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, that's a little bit more of a hike.
It is. It's a little harder, and especially with the 6.5-year-old, it's
a
little more difficult to just get up and fly.
Yeah.
So you guys, man, Warped Tour, Wembley, all of the country stuff. You said you're in Waco tonight performing. That is just, I know when we were talking dates to be able to interview you, I'm like, oh man, you've got a ton of stuff, and that's exciting. I'm really, really excited. I mean, like you said, Wembley's huge. That's I don't think any band ever starts out with I'm gonna play Wembley.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that was on our radar. We're just kind of, but it's happening, and very, very excited about it. It's been building to this, as things have been increasing business wise for the last few years, and it became an idea 3 or 4 years ago, and came to fruition over the last 18 months, and so here we go.
Yeah, I watched a couple of interviews with you just because it was I'm like, I don't want to ask questions that he's been asked 1,000 times, because nobody wants to answer those questions again. But there was one interview, and they were talking about Warped Tour, and you were talking about TikTok and how the the resurgence of Phineas and Ferb has kind of helped boost you guys again as well. That with Phineas and Ferb coming out with their new season in June, and then TikTok audios and people being like, hey, wait, did you guys know that that's Bowling for Soup that does the Phineas and Ferb theme song? It's like, yes, some of us did. So
yeah,
with the new season of Phineas and Ferb, did you guys go back and do anything with them again?
We're involved. I can't really tell you in what way.
Right. Yeah. NDAs are
definitely what we're involved. And it's not really, I wouldn't say that it was really the resurgence of, I mean, I don't think that the resurgence of Phineas and Ferb hurts, but it's not really a thing yet since they're not out. So it's really the fact that the kids that grew up watching Phineas and Ferb now are all, graduating from college and have jobs and are going to see bands. And that's really the thing. You can just walk by. It's fine. He's got a towel on. But it's that, and, like I said, 1985 came out in 2004. So that's 21 years ago that it was huge on Radio Disney. And so, all those kids a lot of them are starting to show, their own kids or go, we're what their parents listened to when they were in the car. And so, yeah, they're just a nostalgic aspect to all of it. And we'll be playing that song, I think, forever and ever, because it's definitely one of those ones that people expect to hear.
Well, of course. So looking at that with the nostalgic aspect of the what their parents played in the car.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that you would be a combo of oldies and punk rock?
I don't know that we're necessarily oldies yet, but I think I think we've been around a bit, but I think some of us, some of our stuff is we've been around long enough to where, I don't know. I guess it's better than the alternative. I guess people still listening to it is better than it just fading off into nothing.
That's true. That is definitely true. I agree with that. So looking at some of your previous songs, and I don't know how you feel about being asked about like what the inspiration was behind certain songs, but looking back at like some of my favorites, obviously Almost is always a favorite. Punk Rock 101 is a favorite. 1985 is a favorite. But When We Die is one that always got me. Like, even thinking about it now, I'm getting teary-eyed. So can we talk about like what inspired that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we didn't have a ballad yet for that record. Really since Let's Do It for Johnny, we had always had a ballad on every album. And so didn't have one yet. And we were in our, I guess we were in the third or fourth week of recording that album, and we were moving to LA and to finish it up. And I had a session scheduled with Butch Walker, who I had written "Girl the Bad Guys Want" with, and he was like, "Okay, so what are we gonna do?" And I think both of us kind of felt like we were gonna go in there and write another "Girl the Bad Guys Want" or "Punk Rock 101." Those are the ones that we had success, and that we had success with, and obviously Almost we wrote together as well. And I was just like, we don't have a ballad yet. And he was like, well, I got to start to something. And just really came together super fast. Both of us, I think, were starting to think about that. It's an interesting point in our lives. He's a few years older than me, but we're around the same age. And, starting to have kids and families and stuff. And, just really, really starting to take how relationships work and don't work and ebb and flow throughout your life or whatever. And so that song came together really, really quickly. We demoed that, and then the guys came in the next day, and Gary listened to it once and played the drums on it, and then we had a song. And so that was a really interesting thing, because the When We Die was the one that the label was most excited about. We really wanted High School Never Ends to be the first single. It was a little bit of a tug of war, and really probably because When We Die was so good, it really took the rug out from under High School Never Ends, which, because radio got pulled really, really fast because they just really wanted to move to When We Die. And I don't know that radio was really ready for that from the band that had just done Girl the Bad Guys Want, Punk Rock 101, 1985, Almost, Ohio, all of these, that really wasn't what they were really expecting from us. So it did okay, but I think I really wish they would have, in hindsight, stuck with High School Never Ends for a little while longer. I think we would have had a pretty big hit on our hands. But it is what it is. If When We Die wouldn't have been so good, we wouldn't have had that problem. So,
well, that's fair. I think too. I was looking at it because it is one of those songs that like I instantly loved and sobbed through multiple times. So that song came out in 2006. I had a cousin who was killed in a car accident in 2004. She was 23. And so I was 12 when she died. And so I was 14 when the song came out. And like it hit hard.
Yeah.
And like I'm 32 and it still makes me cry.
Yeah, that one's one of those ones where it's definitely, if it gets you on the right day, you're gonna there's a lot of emotion there.
Trying not to cry thinking about it even.
Well, a lot of emotion went into the writing of it too. So I mean, I think that's that's a big compliment if it actually stirs up those feelings, because there was quite a bit that went into it as well.
Yeah, and I think anybody who whether they lost somebody or they had childhood trauma and families fighting, that resonates with them a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
We've all
absolutely
on some level.
Yeah, and there's a really awesome video to do too. I got the $6 Million Man, the Fall Guy, to be my dad.
Yeah.
And, his birthday was 2 days ago, and I still text him on holidays and call him dad, and he still calls me son. And
I love that so much.
Yeah, really
that's
cool.
That's a good music video too. That's awesome. That's awesome. So now that I'm like pink in the face and trying not to cry over here.
So
are you guys looking at going back to the studio? Are we getting more Bowling for Soup because everybody wants more soup?
Yeah, actually that's funny. I was looking at some stuff the other day about our last album, Pop Drunk Snot Bread, and it was way more successful than I think we give it credit for. So I'm excited about the prospect of new stuff. I think that's something that we can finally start to think about now that last year was just so busy. Mm-hmm. We were on the road pretty much the whole year, and it's taken a few months of other sporadic things to sort of like get back to any sort of normalcy. So I think that's something that we'll start talking about, here actually very soon, about what the timing of that's going to look like, and maybe trying to get in the studio before the end of the year. We have a covers album that pretty much almost done that we're going to be releasing.
Ooh,
and
awesome.
we got another live record. We recorded the Hangover You Don't Deserve tour. We recorded that the show in Manchester. So that's us playing the whole album front to back live, and so we've got that to get out, and then we've got a whole bunch of country stuff, and so there's just so much, but I think it's going to time out really well so we can get back in the studio hopefully by the end of the year, and be looking at getting something out next year, which would be great. It'd be nice to have something out by next summer and go out and do a summer tour, since we're not really doing like a summer tour this year on our own. We're doing with Simple Plan and 303 and Lolo, which is going to be awesome. But, I think by next year we'll be ready to get back out there and do our thing that we do pretty much every year.
I feel like the Simple Plan 303, you guys, and Lolo, like that, I feel like that's the concert where, like, instead of pre-gaming, we're all just going to take ibuprofen first. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's going to be, those two bands like you to jump up and down, but luckily everybody can rest assured, Bowling for Soup, we very seldom ask anybody to jump up and down. So
our millennial knees just can't handle that anymore.
Are you kidding me? I don't ask you guys to do anything that I don't do myself. So.
You got to be gentle on the millennials.
Absolutely.
Oh goodness. So as you've been going through and doing the anniversary tours and looking back at these old songs, I can only imagine that you've had some self-reflection as well. So looking back at Jaret, 1994, what would you tell him?
I get asked this question quite a bit in a lot of different ways. Not that you're I wasn't in any way implying that you were doing the thing that you didn't want to do. That's a good question. It is a good question. But what I'm saying is it's something that I actually think about a lot. I would say stay the course. I think all of the mistakes, the heartaches, the stupid things that I've done, the good things that I've done, the mistakes that we've made as a band, that, everything got me to here. And, I'm super happy. I got an awesome wife and 3 great kids and an awesome band. And, I love my friends and my pets and my house. And, I'm just really happy right now. And, so I wouldn't want anything to change because, I saw Back to the Future. If you change one thing,
Right.
then your arm disappears,
Yeah, don't step on butterflies.
I can't have that. So, yeah, I want to keep both my arms. That's the thing. That's why I'm going to tell him not to change anything.
Yeah, don't. Stay the course. I like that.
So I get to, but yeah, no, and I really do mean that. I think a lot of the, again, it's crazy. I could definitely do without some of the heartache and some of the things, that weren't too pleasant, but at the same time, it all makes you who you are today. And I definitely in a good spot.
Yeah. Awesome. So I hate this part of the interview because this is the part where I'm almost done and it kind of makes me sad because I'm having so much fun. But again, as the FSF podcast, as we've done a lot of interviews. I mean, we've interviewed Dan Povenmire and Swampy and Will Wheaton and Armin Shimmerman. I mean, we've interviewed some really impressive people. I mean, Jaret Reddick, obviously, super impressive people. But we got to the point where we're like, okay, so we're writing these questions, we're asking them these questions, and then I'm out with my daughter, and I'm like, she gets asked the question I don't get asked anymore, and it makes me really sad.
Right.
So we've added it to our podcast with the Jaret. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, Tyrannosaurus. No, Triceratops. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Triceratops for sure. I always liked the Triceratops. It's always my favorite. It sucked on Jurassic Park that the only one was dead.
I know.
But and by a huge pile of poop. But
right.
But I always liked the Triceratops.
Awesome. And it's funny, is like thinking about it with you. That's a question that kids get asked all the time. And then as grown-ups, as adults, they're like, nobody cares about your favorite dinosaur anymore. Nobody asks you if your new shoes can make you run faster. Like, I
agree. Well, that's the Rockstar Dad show we do.
Yes, it is. Oh my goodness. So I love that answer. I think Triceratops is the answer that's Tim's favorite dinosaur as well, which, I mean, Tim would get to be excited about sharing favorite dinosaur with you if he wasn't a poop head.
If he had shown up to the interview.
Right?
Yeah.
Wasn't here, whatever. So, Jaret, thank you so much for being on the show, for agreeing to talk with me today. Where can our viewers and our listeners find out more about you, look at your tour? I mean, I know that it's there, but let's hear it from the source.
Go to bowlingforsoup.com. Follow me everywhere, JARET2113, or Jaret Reddick on TikTok. And super easy to find. And if you want to check out the country stuff, JaretReddick.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, we are going to put those in the description so that people can find you guys, because you guys have a lot of shows coming up. There's a lot
happening.
A lot of cool stuff. And I need to talk to our followers for a minute. You guys, if you haven't already, click like and follow. Please click like and follow on YouTube. It's the most important thing that you can do to ensure that we get more amazing guests, just like Jaret here, and funny moments that you can listen to, like us picking on Tim, because why not pick on Tim? He's not here to defend himself. What will he do? But please also, I mean, seriously, consider following the show. Share the interview. Share the love. We're really excited. And check out Jaret's work. Check out the country album. Check out Bowling for Soup. And, I'm going to plug it again anyway, because why not? Watch the new Phineas and Ferb episodes that are coming out, too. Like, it's
coming out soon.
Yeah, I think June 5th is the premiere date.
Yeah.
So
I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right.
Awesome. Well, Jaret, again, thank you so much for being on the show with me. I have the 12-year-old inside of me that listened to Bowling for Soup for the first time is like,
thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, guys. Tim usually does his "May you live long and prosper while you," or no, "May the force be with you as you live long and prosper" is Tim's little tagline. I'm not going to use that today. So Bye.
Copyright 2025 FSF Podcast. Reference any specific product or entity mentioned on this podcast does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by FSF Podcast. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. If you have any questions about this disclaimer, please contact us via email at info@fsfpodcast.com.